Good morning once again. Before we start off today's first session of AKLF Day 2, we would like to thank our partners, refreshment partner Chabar, gifting partner Pluris Beverages, radio partner 91.9 Friends FM, event partner Navkreet, hospitality partner Kenilworth, institutional partner Progressive Educational Technique Society Teachers Center, iLead, Calcutta Business School, festival partner The Park Kolkata, Glenburn Penthouse, Alliance Fosse du Bengal, and session partners Oxford Junior Literary Festival, Teachers Center, Alliance Fosse du Bengal, Penguin Random House, Harvard University, HarperCollins, Westland Neogi Books, Rupa Publication, Aleph Book Company, Speaking Tiger, Rijomania, Vistasa, Routledge, Jadavpur University Press, Juggernaut, and Bloomsbury. Finally, let us put our hands together for the first session of AKLF J2. Thank you.
Hello. So we started. We have not rehearsed. What are we supposed to do?
Okay. So once again, I'm back here. So we'll start today's session with a book launch, and I would request the chief guest, Mr. M K Raina, to kindly unwrap the book cover, and I would also request Mr. Anand Nilakantan to kindly wrap the book cover and officially launch the book. Ladies and gentlemen, many Ramayanas, many lessons, the official unveiling of the book. Let us put our hands together, please. Many Ramayana, many lessons.
Good morning, everybody. So, Mr. Anand, there are already Ramayans everywhere. There is in Sanskrit, there is in Hindi, in every regional language. Why now this book?
Actually, this is a compilation of various Ramayanas. So this has been done by big scholars, starting, a lot of them are there. A lot of scholars have done it, but most of them have gone by the texts. So what I have done is I have taken a lot of folk tales which I encountered based on Ramayana. And this is basically the oral storytelling tradition, a bit of stress on the south because that's what I have heard more in Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu. But of course from the eastern side, like Odia, Bengali, Assamese also, whatever I could collect and with some textual reference. So I am narrating the Ramayana story in the oral way, which has not come as a book. Originally, this came in Audible 3 years back, both in English and Hindi. It was one of the most highly top 3 podcasts in the world during COVID times. Because people were not doing anything much. So that was a time when it's a 16-hour podcast on the Ramayana, taking each event and narrating it from various perspectives, not just the conventional perspective. So the idea is to bring the diversity of Ramayana because this is what has helped me in all my previous work. 12 years back, I came with 13 years back now, Asura, Tale of the Vanquished, that is Ravan's Ramayana. Then after that, I was called in TV to write Sita's Ramayana, so Siyake Ram I did. Then while I was doing a television show called Sankat Mojan Mahabali Hanuman, I wrote from the opposite side, Vanara, in which Bali, in the television show, Bali is a villain. And in the book, Bali is a hero. Both you get narratives from the Ramayana tradition itself. Then I wrote Valmiki's women, that is from the perspective of the marginalized women characters like Shurpanaka, Tataka, Shanta, Ram's elder sister, which many people in the mainland are not aware of, which comes from the Ramopakyana in Mahabharata. So this what I did, so whenever I go for any lit fest or any interviews, this question was asked, what are your sources, where are you bringing all these things from? So the idea was to compile all these things, whatever I have encountered, and tell that there are so many fascinating Ramayanas, including a Muslim Ramayana, a Christian Ramayana, apart from the Buddhist and Jainist Ramayana, where you find very fascinating and sometimes shocking. The idea is not to shock, but just to tell these are the traditions are available. That's some kind of, all kind of stories are available. So I sometimes challenge, you imagine anything in Ramayana, the most absurd plot point in Ramayana. There will be some Ramayana available where that is there. Somewhere or other that Ramayana is available. Most of it, the most absurd claims people put up, that also I have encountered. In some tradition, some part of the country, they are celebrated.
Now tell me, did you land in trouble with the governments or with the...
One question which is constantly asked, when are you getting slapped? In every panel, everywhere. I don't know, I have that vibe that this fellow is worth slapping or something like that. Every time I get this question. See, people, there will be detractors. The idea of a book is to debate and discuss, right? Otherwise, what is the point? For people who want confirmation, I write television series. I don't have a problem about that. No, I write many of the popular mythological television series, including the latest Srimad Ramayana, which came in...
The famous, what was the famous Mahabali?
Bahubali.
Wow.
So Bahubali, I wrote the prequel of the book, so it was a part of the story world. But apart from that, in the mythology space, the conventional things I am doing in the TV, with some twist like Sita's Ramayana in Siya Ke Ram, Mahabharata, the Hanuman's Tale, Srimad Ramayana, which I did, which is going in Sony TV now. Again, one more Hanuman is coming. So that is endless. That's a commercial thing and that's a confirmatory. Whatever you want, whatever you are used to, bring a visual format to that. So that I do it in the TV. But books are specifically for those who want to go deeper into our culture and the civilization and to understand that these are not just merely religious texts, but they are cultural texts also. And dissent and debate is a part of Indian culture. Not the part of Indian culture, it is the Indian culture. Everything is a debate, including Bhagavad Gita, it is a debate. It is not a commandment that you have to do this or you will go to hell and you will be fried and cooked. For that you have Garuda Purana. But other than that, Garuda Purana has very graphic description of what all will happen to each of us. Only thing is that it is usually read when somebody is dead in the house. So we don't appreciate the humor in it. That's the only issue. You have to read it, otherwise also then you can laugh a lot. Wild imagination, I don't know what these people are smoking. But that is there. Apart from that, most like Upanishads, you take Gita, you take all Aranyakas, Brahmanas, everything is a debate. Total debate. So this is continuing in the tradition of it.
So how do you see today's debate? I agree with you, there's a tradition of dialogue and debate and question. Guru, student always questions the Guru and Guru keeps on replying. If you go to Katha Upanishad, another Upanishad. And Gita is like that also, the same thing. Now today, in today's context,
I think our culture is resilient enough to overcome all these things. There will be, see, it is not that every time they debated, there was no opposition. Like many of the times the people who question like this, they had huge opposition at that time itself, but it always overcome that. Like all the Bhakti era saints, if you take, that was a rebellion, right? Most of the Bhakti poetry is a rebellion against the orthodoxy. Whether it is Kabir, whether it is Surdas, whether it is Tulasidas, whether it is Kambar, whether it is Ezhuthachan, it is a rebellion. For example, in Malayalam, when Ezhuthachan wrote Ramayana first, Ezhuthachan didn't belong to any of the prominent caste, just like Sarla Das. He didn't belong to the prominent caste. So, and Ramayana was not supposed to be written, even though before that Kannasya Ramayana was there. The way in which Ezhuthachan wrote in Malayalam, Ramanujan Ezhuthachan wrote in Malayalam, the Brahmin orthodoxy of that time and the King Zamarin at that time, it was at the time when the Portuguese had landed in Calicut, a lot of strife was happening. At that time he wrote, he was punished because one, he was not a Brahmin and he was writing it in the local language. So the legend is that he was punished for that and he was made to press oil. Instead of bullock, he was put as a draught animal, and for 12 years, he was
Going round and round.
going round and round and round. So the meter is also like that. And he used to narrate this Ramayana, and there was a parrot. So these are the India, nothing is there without stories. There was a parrot which used to come, and it learned it, and it goes out and it sings, and his daughter used to write it down. And his disciples used to go secretly to all parts of Kerala to sing it, and ultimately it prevailed. And he's considered as the father of modern Malayalam, 500 years. Most of the fathers of Indian classical languages, or the first poets, they all wrote Ramayana in that language. That's also there. So all of them came as a rebellion. Ramayana was used as a tool of rebellion. Even Tulsidas Ramayana was a tool of rebellion against the kings at that time, Mughals and other things. So you can find, and it is not restricted between, it is just because it was a Muslim king or anything. Most of the Ramayana was used by the poets to speak the language of the people. So that is how this endured. So if somebody is using Ramayana, to counter it also, he'll have to use Ramayana only. Because that is a force.
But in case of Tulsidas, it was the Brahmins of the Banaras who didn't like him to write in the people's language of Avdi.
Yeah.
And then Akbar, it's written in the history that he wanted him to come to the court, which he refused to come. Because he didn't want to go court, because the appropriation of the state.
Correct.
But today when you say, like you, have you ever had a problem?
So far, no. I have been debated, discussed, criticized, but I am not much in social media except to post about my books. I don't go and debate with trolls because there is a context collapse. No, they will just take one line and then debate, and you will waste time. I have got better ways to waste time than fighting with the trolls. So as long as you don't go to social media and fight with them, there have been issues, cases have been slapped and all those things that you will have to deal. So I don't want to give ideas to any other people who want to slap cases. So I don't want to get into the detail of it.
Okay, tell me one. How do you justify, because you write all this television stuff, huh?
Yes,
then you say you switch over to write a serious stuff on the book. I mean, don't you find it is contradicting yourself, or how do you justify it?
Actually, it comes from the tradition which I grew up. Kerala, like Bengal, are eternal rebels. So there is this story of Aravan in Mahabharata. So my father always used to say we are like that. So Aravan, Babruvahana, different versions are coming. So that story is, there is this character who was the greatest warrior. It's from folk Mahabharata. He was the greatest warrior in Mahabharata that nobody, Arjuna, Karna, Duryodhana, Bhima, no one could stand against him. But he had a problem. He was always with the underdog. So he comes for the Mahabharata war. He finds that Kauravas are outnumbered and Pandavas are less. He feels sympathy for Pandavas. He starts fighting in Pandavas side against Kauravas, and he kills a lot of Kaurava soldiers. Then he feels, oh, so many Kauravas are dead. They are the underdog. So he jumps to the other side. And then he fights from this side, Pandavas start dying. Pandavas side start dying. Then again he feels sympathy. So he jumps to this side. So he's a perpetual character who goes to Krishna.
Ayaram Gayaram.
Ayaram Gayaram, the original Ayaram Gayaram. But his mind is pure. He thinks, I want to support the underdog. So he's jumping from, always there will be an underdog. No, today we identify with the underdog. All revolutions end up like that. No, the people who are the underdog who come to a top, and other guys become the underdog. So this Aravan is an eternal rebellion. Finally, Krishna, as usual, he cuts his head. So there's a big tradition. He asks him to sacrifice himself. He sacrifices himself. You can find in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and all, the head of Aravan, Babruhana in north, head of him, and it is he asks Krishna to marry him. So Krishna becomes Mohini and marries him, the folk tradition. So it's for transgenders and other communities. He's a god. So they come to celebrate the Aravan. So this is a tradition of India which takes everyone along with the storytelling. So for me, I am some kind, I don't know when the head will get cut and when Krishna will marry me, but this this tradition of jumping from one side to other, see, Ramayana can be told as an underdog story from Ram's side and Ravan's side, right? That's the beauty of this tale. Both sides you can tell. So Asura, can I tell in 2 lines, the Ramayana tale. One tale is like this. Ravan, a poor man, his father gave everything to his brother Kubera. So with his, that's my Asura, no? With his effort, he rises up and he builds a big empire. He takes whatever he wants. Even when he gets even when he is asked boon by the Shiva after his attempt to transport the Kailasa to Lanka, the failed, aborted transport of Kailas, he gets crushed and then he is asked what boon you want. He asks for Chandrahasa. He doesn't, he wants a sword with which he has to fight. By his own effort he wants to win. And he makes Lanka. Finally the God himself will have to come and it's a man against a God who fights. And finally everybody in his team dies for him. What a leader. And he dies as a king. He rules for 10,000 years. He dies as a king for what he believed in. The great underdog story, which is Asura. Now put it the other way around. Here is a poor man, Ram. He has been thrown out from his home and telling the other underdog story. He has been asked to go in exile and he goes in exile. Even his chapel is taken away by his brother. He goes without his chapel and telling the underdog story. Poor fellow, even that is taken away. With Ram, Sita, Lakshman, they go to the forest. This big tyrant, this huge king who has his own private island and private jet, this rich man, Ravan, he comes and kidnaps his wife. Then Ram will have to take Ram, this subaltern way I'm telling Ramayana, Ram, this dark-skinned prince, takes all the aborigines and the Adivasi, who we call as Vanaras, their help, and go against this Brahmin king Ravan, who is a big Vedic scholar and has very rich Brahmin king who Shiva himself has blessed, and Ram fighting against this man with Indrajit as his son, Kumbhakarna, such a big power. It's like Chad or Nigeria fighting against America, Trump, sitting with all these things, and here they are with nothing but clubs and a bow and arrow, and he fights and wins. What an underdog story, which is Ramayana. Either way you can tell. Both are underdog stories. I tell both in different mediums.
Okay, you know, in today's discussion of Ramayana, right up to the Ram temple that has finally come up, I have a complaint with and rather I'm sad about it, to be honest. I don't see discourse of Sita there. If you take from the Ramayana story Sita away, nothing remains. Neither Ram, neither Ravana, not even Lakshman or Bharat or anybody. How do you react to that today? It's because I feel it's a new interpretation of the Ramayana that is being received by the youngsters. They think that is the Ramayana. So the Ram temple there is no Sita there. It's Ram. And the absence taking away from this greatest tradition of India, from the very beginning of India, as you know it. How do you react to it? The absence of Sita in this entire discourse. It is Jai Shri Ram, it's not Jai Siya Ram, which used to be. I grown up with Jai Siya Ram or Ram Ram.
You know, that is quite sad because see, when the first posters of Ram, the angry Ram started appearing 30 years ago, my grandparents, when they were alive, they used to say this is very inauspicious for India because Ram is never shown without Sita. Ram without Sita is considered in traditional India as inauspicious. Ram has to be always with Sita. So the picture of Ram angry against the sea, there's a big lesson in that also. No? In Ramayana, everything is about karma. That's what I'm arguing also. So Ram is asking for an unnatural, it's an adharma. What is he asking? He's asking the sea god that the stone should float. I have to build a bridge across you. Why couldn't he build ship? That's a separate thing. But the ship naturally floats as far as I know. But he wanted a bridge. So the bridge, he asked for a bridge. Since it is Ram is asking and he threatens with Brahmastra, that is a scene, no, Ram with the arrow and an angry sea. That's was always considered. So in temples you won't find it. Rarely you find it. It's not that nothing is there. In India you can't say categorically that something is there or not there. But generally it is not there. Why? Because this act of Ram, there is a serious karma bhala which is happening in Mahabharata. The same sea comes back. Ram doesn't get spared for this act. That's the beauty of Indian storytelling also. That he could be the avatar of God. But just like Ravana pays the price for his actions, Ram also will have to pay the price for his action. So in Dwaraka, the same sea comes back and swallows Dwaraka, which is built of stones and gold. It gets swallowed by the sea. So why should someone put that image for 5,000 years or 4,000 years or 1,000 years, whichever time you take? I don't understand, because without Sita, there is no Ram. Is what again and again the Ramayana itself says that. So Uttar Ramayana is about that. Once Sita goes, Ram is incomplete. And there is a reason why Sita was considered as the epitome of feminism, and it is not the Tulsidas Sita I am talking about, it's Valmiki Sita I am talking about. There is a reason why Sita became goddess and not Draupadi. Of course, there are traditions which take Draupadi as goddess, but generally Sita became goddess for a reason. There is no woman as powerful as Sita in Indian Puranas or perhaps in world literature. We have been taught the wrong Sita for the sake of tradition. Take the case of Sita's life. She chooses her parents. Her life is all about choice. She chooses her parents. It's only the Janaka. So these things I deal in the book. Janaka, who is considered as the wisest of all kings. There are a lot of Janakas. They say Janaka was a democratic country. That's why it's called Janaka, who is elected by the Janata. In Upanishads, most of the Upanishads, it's all Janaka's conversation. She chooses this one of these Janakas as her parent. All his children, both his children and his brother Kushadhaja's children, all are women. They don't do any Putrakameshti. She chooses the right house. There is Mithila is the place where the daughter is celebrated. When the marriage happens, we don't go underline these points, right? What was the condition of the marriage? That the Shaiva Jaba has to be strung. Did anyone string it? Did Ram string it? Ram doesn't string it, he breaks it. So actually as per the condition it is void, null and void, right? But it is Swayamvar. So Sita chooses to marry Ram, it is her choice. That is purposefully put that it is broken. Otherwise Valmiki could have written, he strung it and he won it. Great. No. Every act in Ramayana has a reason for that. She chooses it. She chooses, if she is this demure woman who will always listen to the husband, the Pativrata, what they call, no? Pativrata has a lot of qualities, what these men have written. She doesn't count in any of those in that angle. She does it because of some other reasons which I am trying to tell. Ram says, don't come with me. She will say, Ji Arya, and sit at home, right? She doesn't do that. She argues with him and insists that he takes with him. She is not Urmila. That's why Urmila never inspired me. No, Urmila, Lakshman says, you don't come. She goes and goes to sleep. Sita goes with him, her choice. In Panchavati, Ram, in Valmiki Ramayana it's not there, but Lakshmana's draws the line. As for the popular many other Ramayanas, Lakshman Rekha is put. And she is asked not to step out. The woman should not step out. She chooses to step out. Her choice. Because a man's hunger is more important than any diktat given by the society. Somebody has come hungry, she has to feed, it is her hospitality, she steps out. She is not that demure, listening, all listening, obedient wife. She is taken to Lanka. When Hanuman comes, Hanuman offers a choice, I will take you back. She says, Ram has to come and take me. I won't come because it is his honor which is important. When the first Agnivarisha happens, Ram doesn't ask for Agnivarisha if you go by Ramayana. Ram tells her, you can go wherever you want. I have done my duty, my thing is over. It is she who chooses, read Valmiki Ramayana, it is she who chooses to do the Agnivarisha. It is her choice. This time. Next, when Ram abandons her, She is pregnant. She may be perhaps the first single woman who brings up her children so well that these Leva and Kusha defeats the entire army of Ram, including Ram, Hanuman, everyone. Why is it written like that? Who could be a bigger guru? The mother is the biggest guru. She is the strongest. See her, what could be a better revenge if you ask? Or what could be a better thing of duty? Then Ram comes and asks for Agnivarisha. This time what she does? Again her choice. She refuses to give. She goes back. That is why she is considered as the epitome of feminism. She is equivalent to Shakti. Not because, so take it, compare it with Draupadi. Why Draupadi is not a goddess? Draupadi's revenge is all shrieking, shouting revenge. And she loses everything, right? Her husband goes and pawns her. She could have walked out. But she's a slave. She is brought, she is stripped. She's a victim rather than a heroine. Then she says, I will drink, all drama like serials. No, I will drink the blood, this thing, I will only do this. See the revenge of Sita, see how Sita acts, how dignified, and how Draupadi does it. And finally what happens in the entire war, so many people die. The Srivarva, you have to read it to understand what Mahabharata is. Srivarva of Mahabharata. Total devastation, and she loses her own sons. All the 5 sons. So what did Draupadi's revenge and things entail? And what did Sita's entail? That is the reason why Indian tradition always celebrated Sita and not Draupadi.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Now the last question. What serial are you writing and what serious book are you writing?
After this book, a lot of things I am writing. I write simultaneously a lot. One is a film with Rakesh Omprakash Mehra, Karna is coming. It's a big film, 2 film, Karna is coming. Another one entertainment film is coming with Rohit Shetty. Then one series is coming in Sony TV on Prithviraj Chauhan. Another series on Hanuman is coming. That also I am writing. This is my film and television space. Apart from that, on books, already I have written, it will be published on many Krishnas, which is coming in Audible first and next year as book. So as an audiobook it is coming. Then apart from that, I am writing something on Devi and Mahishasura, which is a penguin book. After this year, for Diwali, that should be the release for the book. Then a couple of children's books are there, which I have finished, which are in the print. Then another one is Asura Way I wrote, the Charvaka method of Indian philosophy. The second part of it, which everyone will be interested, the Asura Way of making wealth, is coming as a non-fiction space. Apart from that, columns and other things I do write.
In Malayali or in English?
All are in English, but Malayalam also I have a few books. And
but why have you left Kerala and you are in Bombay?
Money.
Wonderful one. So you have got a Ferrari?
No, I am unfortunately in India. If a writer is successful, you will be able to buy ration.
So your relationship, you don't write in Malayali anymore?
No, I do write. See, for me, sir, I have, you know it, you have such a senior in theatre and films, you know about it. I need not tell you, but for the audience I am telling, the thing I love most pays me the least. The thing I don't like at all pays me the best. I do both. So I like to write poetry, not even my dog wants to hear it. He comes to bite me. So I write poetry, no payment. I write Malayalam short stories. I get 3,000 rupees, 2,500 rupees if editor is in a generous mode. So that I write. Then I write books, which are reasonably well paid. Books do well. Then I write films, which are quite good. Then I write the thing I hate most, television, which
everybody likes.
Which gives me a lot of, I could resign my job and live.
Achha, the last question, tell me, who is your favorite author?
Vedavyasa.
Great. I think we have crossed the time.
Yeah.
And I think, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. No time for interaction, right? For the audience.
Okay.
You are not audience, Anuja. I'll kill you. I'll come to your session.
Okay, thank you.
We usually, ours is an entertainment show, Anuja, and we usually fight on the stage. I don't know why she has come here and masquerading as an audience.
No, you don't have to be so scared. My question was, you talked so much about Sita's choice, and it sounded a lot like the male perspective.
I am a male, I think.
Yes, and that's problematic. That's problematic in the context of Sita, because what kind of choice is it that she chose to do the Agni Pariksha? Rama just slut-shamed her. He told her, go wherever you want. So if you are dishonored as a woman, you're relegated to host status from wife status. That means you get stoned wherever you go. Men feel free to misbehave with you. So she was desperate. It's not a move she made from a place of strength. And what about the real world ramifications of the Agni Pariksha? A real woman is forced to enter the flames, good, bad, ugly, virtuous, slutty, she's going to die. And there was Sati, Johar because of this choice. So what kind of choice
No, you are
is it?
confusing a lot of issues. You are confusing.
Anand, that is
Johar,
mansplaining.
Johar, you asked me a question and I try to answer, then it becomes mansplaining. Then how will I answer it, Anuja?
Because Johar is the real
Because whatever
world
answer I will give,
ramification
it will be mansplaining, right? Whatever answer I give. So you are not expecting an answer, you are just want to make a statement. Statement accepted. Thank you.
Chicken.
Yeah, the time is over.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on the book. You told that there are different versions of Ramayana, and particularly Raina sir also touched the Ramayana from the point of view of oppressed, marginalized women empowerment. So do you think there is enough cultural space on this dimension that we should expose our children or young mass towards the viewpoint of Ramayana in terms of marginalized or women empowerment?
There are books, but in villages you find all these kind of like you see a lot of performing arts. You find this is there traditionally a lot of performing arts, especially by Telugu folk tales, in Akshagana, in Malayalam folk tales. You specifically find it in the south, a lot of them exposing this, telling it from the women's perspective. Some of the greatest poetry in Malayalam is from Tadaka's perspective, from Churpanaga's perspective. Vailar had written, so many of them have written from Kunjandambiya's time. So many are there in the tradition. How much space you get? In television will they get it? I doubt. But in India, in spaces, in villages, it still exists. That culture is very vibrant.
Periyar Ramaswamy Satta Ramayana.
That is one way of looking at Ramayana, right? Periyar's Ramayana is one way of looking at Ramayana. So my Asura has a lot of similarity to that. No, Asura, I told the tale from, there are two heroes in Asura. One is Ravana and another one is Bhadra, a common man who is a subject of both Rama and Ravana, and he finds that his life doesn't change. Whether he is a subject of, so it comes from the famous telling in the south, no, whether Ram rules or Ravan rules, for the common man it is all going to be the same. So that subaltern perspective has always been there. It gets reinvented again and again, and that's the beauty of Ramayana. That is why we have got so many varied Ramayans telling it from the perspective of the marginalized. That space always is there, because oral storytelling you cannot stop. No, that keeps on. It's like keeps on expanding in the villages, in the rural space. In temple festivals it is told. These debates are happening everywhere. It doesn't happen in a paid TV debate. That is irrelevant. It happens in the common man space. It's still happening.
But your question, concluding this now, is now the struggle is, does that space get expanded, which he is talking, or you were talking about the people, the oppressed. That is the challenge of today's politics and today's struggles. I think I ended with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.